welcome to the final sideboard of Grand Prix Miami. Reid, welcome back to the sideboard and congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
This wonderful trophy is now yours. I know your mantle's getting a little cramped and crowded, but I'm sure you can find room for one of those.
I definitely will.
So fantastic to see you winning with Jund. We already had you in the sideboard earlier today, actually, to talk about your choices with Jund, why you decided to play it, and in fact, you mentioned it. Even though it's a deck you're obviously known for playing, you probably always have a list somewhere in your box.
Yeah.
You kind of audibled into it at close to the last minute. So obviously, looking back on it, that turned out to be a good decision.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been the luckiest thing that ever happened to me that I was losing with Bant, which was my other deck, because that's what caused me to play Jund, and it's as good as it ever was, and it's really the right deck for me also.
Yeah, it really proved itself in this event, of course.
Yeah.
You played, I think, one of the all-time great matches of SCG Live, to be honest, against Brad in the semifinals of this event.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very tough, very exciting. And you moved from that into a finals against Junk Reanimator, which, a lot of people have said a lot of things about the Junk Reanimator Jund matchup. Who does it actually favor? I know
there's a lot of controversy.
I know you've maintained it generally favors you. Did you feel, pretty confident going into that finals?
Yeah, it depends a lot on both players' lists. Josh in particular had like a really good, well-balanced list of Junk Reanimator, with the one hole that he didn't have a lot of answers to Olivia, and that was really what allowed me to win both games 2 and 3. Some players have Sever the Bloodline, or a variety of other answers would be possible, or Orzhov Charm, whatever, but Josh really had Fiend Hunter, which is not really the best card against Jund because I have so much removal, and he had Angel of Serenity, but between Ground Seal and me being able to kill his mana creatures, Angel of Serenity is like a little
weaker,
a little tough to cast unless everything's going well for him.
Yeah, it seems like if he's going to make maximum use of those Fiend Hunters, he really has to move into an aggressive game plan against you, right? So that if you spend time on the Fiend Hunter removing it, he's at least getting an incidental damage with his creatures. And Junk Reanimator is not really well suited to that plan, especially when you have things like Huntmaster of the Fells, which, as we saw, in Game 3, you developed almost perfectly. You just jammed that turn 3 Olivia, it lived, which it felt like you were almost surprised. You're like, well, now that this lives, how do I play the game from here?
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is that he had 2 Garruk Relentless.
Yeah.
And when he played his first Grizzly Mulch, I think maybe, he flipped one of the Garruks into the graveyard.
Yes, he did.
And I was like, all right, that's one of the possible answers down, so I felt a little bit more comfortable just playing out the turn 4 Olivia and hoping for the best.
In fact, that's the only real answer that actually punishes your play. Like, even if it is a Fiend Hunter, you can at least, as you mentioned, kill that guy and get it back later.
Right, eventually the game gets to a point where I can hard cast Bonfire, kill the Fiend Hunter, anything like that.
But instead, she just lived and rapidly took things over.
Yeah.
Obviously, the tensest point of the match for you probably had to be in Game 2 when you're going down to 5 cards on the play, already down a game, and your back's against the wall.
Yeah.
Were you anxious at that point, or were you just hoping, all right, deck, we know how to do this matchup. We just need some lands and some Olivias.
I mean, not really sure what to say about it. It just kind of was what it was. I was at a big disadvantage. I had to get lucky. And I knew that, starting the game, but I was definitely going to try my best and give myself every opportunity to get lucky, which is what happened.
Yeah, one of the things about, obviously, conventional card advantage is kind of out the window in Standard sometimes. There are cards that are much better than, like 10 cards. Olivia, obviously, one of the marquee cards of Standard that can do that kind of thing. All right, Reid. Well, it's been a fantastic event. We've loved seeing you on camera.
Thanks.
As I told you, outside of the match, you make my job so easy. Congratulations.
Thanks, Glenn.
Once again.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and throw it back to the booth. And Pete, Sully, Cedric, and Osip are going to close out the weekend for you guys.